Power scaling is a method fans and creators use to determine how strong fictional characters are compared to one another. It's a structured way of analyzing who would win in a fight, whether the characters are from the same series or completely different universes. To do this, people examine a character's feats, things the character has clearly done, and place them into power tiers based on those accomplishments. One of the most important ideas in power scaling is understanding the difference between destructive capacity and attack potency. This is also where most confusion happens, so it helps to break it down simply. Think of it like this: a grenade versus a sniper rifle. A grenade causes massive area damage. It blows up everything around it. A sniper rifle, on the other hand, focuses all its force into a single precise point. Both can be deadly, but they function very differently. That's essentially the difference between destructive capacity and attack potency. Destructive capacity refers to how much total area a character can destroy with a single attack. If a character fires an energy blast and wipes out an entire mountain, that would be considered mountain level DC. It's about visible, large-scale destruction. A clear example is when Frieza destroyed planet Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z. That feat shows planetary level destructive capacity because the entire planet was destroyed. Attack potency, however, measures how much force or damage is concentrated into a single strike, regardless of how much area is affected. This is where people often get confused. Imagine a fighter punches a villain. The punch doesn't create a huge explosion or crater, but it breaks armor that was previously shown to withstand a nuclear blast. Even though the damage was focused on a small area, that punch would have nuclear level attack potency. This distinction explains how characters can defeat extremely durable opponents without destroying everything around them. For example, in Naruto, when Naruto Uzumaki destroyed the Tenseigan, an object durable enough to survive planetary destruction, he did so without obliterating the surrounding area. That means his attack potency was high enough to overcome that level of durability, even though the overall destructive capacity of the attack did not destroy the planet itself.
It's also important to understand durability, which measures how much force a character can withstand before taking damage. In many power scaling frameworks, durability is directly connected to attack potency through Newton's third law. The principle states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Applied to scaling, if a character can strike with a certain level of force, their body must be durable enough to handle the recoil or stress generated by that same level of force. Otherwise, they would injure themselves when attacking. Durability is not the same as endurance. Durability refers to how much damage a character can physically withstand. Endurance, on the other hand, is about stamina, how long a character can keep fighting after they've been injured or exhausted. A character might have high endurance but low durability, meaning they can push through pain but still take heavy damage from strong attacks. Understanding the difference between attack potency and destructive capacity becomes especially important in fictional battles. For example, consider future Trunks fighting Frieza in Dragon Ball Z. Frieza has planetary level destructive capacity. He can destroy entire planets. However, future Trunks demonstrates higher concentrated attack potency. His sword strikes carry enough focused energy to cut Frieza in half. If you judge the fight based only on destructive capacity, you might assume Frieza would automatically win because he can destroy a planet. But that overlooks a key factor. Trunks' attack potency exceeds Frieza's durability. Since AP must surpass durability to cause lethal damage, Trunks is able to overpower him despite the gap in large-scale destructive output. Speed in power scaling is not a monolithic statistic. Rather, it is divided into several subcategories to reflect the nuanced ways fictional characters move. The primary categories include combat speed, reaction speed, and travel speed. Combat speed is the speed at which a character can fight, encompassing the movement of limbs and the execution of techniques in a localized engagement. Reaction speed is the speed at which a character can perceive and respond to an action. This often grants a short-range movement but does not necessarily translate to long-distance speed. Travel speed is the velocity at which a character moves over long distances, often through running, flying, or other continuous means. Attack speed is the speed of a specific attack or projectile launched by a character, which may be significantly faster than the character's own movement. It is important to note that combat speed and reaction speed are not automatically equal to travel speed. Fictional characters are often portrayed as being fast enough to react to or dodge light-based attacks, yet they may still take hours to travel across large
geographical areas. The two are functionally different measurements. A real-world comparison makes this clearer. A professional boxer may throw punches at around 45 miles per hour, but their running speed might only reach 15 miles per hour. The speed of their strikes does not equal their long-distance movement speed.
The scaling hierarchy is the framework used to rank characters based on the maximum amount of matter or energy they can affect. You can think of it as a ladder. Each rung represents a higher quantitative scale of destruction, creation, or influence. In fiction, characters are not simply described as strong, they are categorized by the scope of their power. Starting from the bottom are the low tiers, where most grounded action heroes exist. Street level are characters capable of defeating groups of trained fighters or criminals. Wall/room level are characters who can punch through brick walls or destroy small structures. Building level are characters capable of collapsing large buildings or skyscrapers. Above that are the mid tiers, where many superheroes and shonen protagonists begin. City level are characters who can destroy or severely damage an entire city. Mountain level are characters with enough energy output to vaporize or obliterate a massive natural formation. Island level are characters capable of destroying or affecting an entire island or comparable landmass. Next are the high tiers, often considered god-level beings. These characters can destroy, create, or significantly affect celestial bodies such as moons, planets, stars, or even galaxies. Beyond that are the cosmic tiers, which include universal and multiversal levels. At this stage, power is no longer about physical size alone, but about influence over space-time structures. Universal characters can affect or destroy an entire universe, while multiversal characters can impact multiple universes or higher dimensional systems. The outer tiers are typically the most difficult for beginners to grasp. A character described as outerversal is not merely stronger than a universe, they exist beyond conventional space, time, and dimensional frameworks. To such beings, a multiverse could be treated as something conceptually trivial, like an illustration that can be erased. A critical principle of the hierarchy is that each tier represents a massive qualitative jump over the previous one. A planet-level character is vastly beyond a city-level character in raw destructive scope. However, raw scale is not the only deciding factor in battles. A lower-tier character can still compete if their attack potency exceeds the higher-tier opponent's durability, or if they possess specialized abilities, commonly referred to as hacks, that bypass conventional durability or scaling advantages.
In power scaling, hacks is a slang term for special abilities that allow a character to win without relying on raw physical power or destructive output. Instead of overpowering an opponent numerically, a hack's ability bypasses conventional stats like attack potency or durability. A simple way to understand it is to compare it to a cheat code in a video game. A standard character wins because their attack value is higher. A hacks-based character wins by ignoring the numbers altogether. The term comes from hacking, altering the rules of a system. In fictional battles, hacks abilities function the same way. They override or circumvent the normal rules of combat. For example, imagine character A can destroy a galaxy with a punch. That demonstrates immense destructive capacity and attack potency. However, if character B has the ability to turn anyone they touch into a harmless toy, character B wins instantly. It does not matter how much force character A can output if their abilities are nullified through a rule-breaking effect. Some of the most well-known hacks abilities include reality warping, often considered one of the highest forms of hacks. The user can alter the laws of physics, rewrite environmental conditions, or redefine how powers function. Characters like Scarlet Witch demonstrate this ability, as do many cartoon entities from Looney Tunes, where logic itself is flexible. Existence erasure, the complete removal of a being from reality. This goes beyond physical destruction. The target may leave no body behind, and in some cases, no memory of their existence. A well-known example is Thanos using the Infinity Gauntlet in Avengers Infinity War. Another example is Beerus using Hakai in Dragon Ball Super. Beyond these, there are numerous other forms of hacks: conceptual manipulation, mind control, soul manipulation, and more. The final foundational concept in power scaling is chain scaling. This is one of the most commonly used forms of reasoning in scaling discussions. Chain scaling determines a character's level by comparing them to someone they have defeated, harmed, or fought on equal footing. The logic is straightforward. If character A is stronger than character
character B, and character B has demonstrated a specific level of power, then character A must scale to that level or higher. For example, imagine 3 characters, Joe, Stark, and Jeff. We do not know how strong Joe is, but we have seen the others fight. Stark destroys a mountain with a single punch. That feat establishes Stark as mountain level in destructive capacity. Later, Joe fights Stark and wins decisively. Even if Joe has never personally destroyed a mountain, chain scaling allows us to conclude that Joe is at least mountain level, because he overpowered someone who demonstrably is. This method is widely used because authors rarely give every character a large-scale destruction feat. Constantly showing planet-level explosions just to prove strength would disrupt pacing and narrative structure. Instead, writers often establish power progression by having a new antagonist defeat a previously established strong character. The defeated character acts as a benchmark or measuring stick. Chain scaling relies on consistent portrayal and clear outcomes. If the victory is decisive and not based on external factors, such as exhaustion, hacks, or situational advantages, the upscale is considered valid. When applied carefully, chain scaling allows analysts to determine relative power levels even when direct feats are limited.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more.